All right, I believe we are live. So this has worked. All right, let's just jump right into this roundup. And first, I want to start off by talking about The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's Saturday, April 25th. Now, this movie comes out on, I believe, Friday, May 22nd. So, a little less than a month away. Now, this is absolutely gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be a good movie, but I can tell you that Star Wars fans are definitely waiting to see this, and it's just gonna be. Even if the movie is absolutely terrible, which I don't think anybody wants, but fans Star Wars fans have not seen a Star Wars movie in the movie theater for over 7 years. Can you believe it? 2019 was the last movie of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. And so it's been 7 years. Star Wars is back to the big screen. Again, I hope the best for it, but I'm going to tell you, I cannot wait to be there. So that's kind of number one thing on our roundup. And let's jump over to kind of just some collection stuff. And we'll run this for about an hour. So, let's pull out some action figures. I've got a good assortment kind of close to me. We'll pull out our ATST driver. And if he wants to hold his gun, which he does, well, maybe not. I'm just kind of fiddling with this guy here off camera. Okay. So there is your ATST driver. Now, I will be back just momentarily. I have to get something for the show that you guys are going to see in a couple of minutes. So I will be right back. Just enjoy this ATST driver. So I will be back momentarily. We're back. So, the ATST driver, now another great Imperial, is the Death Squad Commander. Now, these are two great figures, and I'll throw my other Death Squad Commander up there. Now, hey, we got a viewer. So the Death Squad Commander is a part of the first 12. Now, I believe, from what I have seen, he may possibly be in the Mandalorian and Grogu. And I say possibly because it's unclear, but the Imperial Remnant would definitely have some Death Squad commanders. And one of the mini rigs, unfortunately I don't have this mini rig, but it is the mini rig that goes inside the AT-AT, if you know what one I'm talking about. But that mini rig is on the latest poster that we have from Disney. So I believe that mini rig will be in The Mandalorian and Grogu. And let's move Admiral Akbar. him there. If he wants to stand up, of course. Now, Admiral Akbar, is he going to be in the movie? That is a very, very nice question. Personally, I think there's a possibility that he could be. However, you do have to remain optimistic because Admiral Akbar never did make an appearance in the Mandalorian TV show. So, could you argue either way? Yes. I'm going to say no on this one. And my camera, I almost knocked that right over. However, the Mandalorian and Grogu, it's going to be a decent movie. And let's kind of switch topics here for off of Mando, because we've been on that one for quite a while now. So let's move these figures out of the way. And let's move on to my second category in my show notes. Let's move the blaster front and center. So this is your Empire Strikes Back blaster. And this one, you're going to be saying, well, it's the Kenner Star Wars blaster. Yes, it is. However, what makes this one special is it has the black trigger. Now, most Empire Strikes Back blasters did come with the gray trigger. And the gray trigger is far less common, or more common. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up. But I just personally like the black triggers better. And the Empire Strikes Back sticker definitely does make it a little bit more rare. However, is it all that much more rare? I don't know. Because the black trigger, it's a lot more common on Star Wars issues. I think only Star Wars issues exclusively came with the black trigger. If you do have a gray trigger with the Star Wars sticker, that does not include the battery cover, because the battery cover does have different stickers, but I'm talking about on the back of the gun like this. Black triggers with a Star Wars sticker. That's a whole nother story right there. Over. But let's move on. So you guys have seen the blaster, and yes, in case you're wondering, it does make the classic Kenner sound. Now you can all hear that. So let's move on to our next ordeal of business, which I believe, because we gotta round it all up, we've done a little bit of each side. What was that? Let's move on to let's do the Star Destroyer right now. 2 viewers, that's great. 2 viewers. So, the Star Destroyer, of course. It looks absolutely huge here on camera, but it's half a foot in front of the camera. Let's do the light thing with it now. There it goes. And if we turn it this way, just enough, I think you can see that. So Darth Vader is in there. We'll even lift it up. And the reason why I'm doing the Star Destroyer is because, and huge thank you to Mad Max over at Heroes and Hobbies for this, he recently gave me this piece right here. And that is what would you call it, the holocron, you know what I mean, the holo connector, the FaceTime of Star Wars, where it projects the big image of of the Emperor, kind of right there. So that's a pretty cool piece there. So now my Star Destroyer is 100% complete, and as the Emperor would say, this Star Destroyer is 100% operational. Although the Emperor did not say that about a Star Destroyer, he only said that about Death Star 2. So, let's sideline our Star Destroyer. And 236 subscribers. That's a lot of subscribers right there. Now, what should I do next? I think we should do the Cantina. Or we could do the Land Speeder. So, yeah, let's get the Land Speeder down, and then that way that'll clear up enough space so that I can do the Cantina. Because the way my shelf is up here, I'll just end up knocking everything down. But here's the Land Speeder. So I want to do a quick showcase on this one. Because I do not have a Luke Skywalker. Well, I have Luke Skywalker. I do not have a Luke Skywalker, though, if you know what I mean. Because collectors commonly call this version of Luke Skywalker with a word that starts with F. And that word would be Farm Boy. But I personally just like to call him Luke Skywalker because you don't say Han Solo in his smuggler's outfit. You say Han Solo. You don't say Princess Leia in Princess's outfit. You say Princess Leia. So why they did this to Luke, I don't know. But 2 viewers, wow, that's pretty good. So of course the hood will pop up and pop open, and you can just take a look inside there. So Luke can do his repairs to his Land Speeder. And around back, there you go. Now, the wheels, of course, that's the one kind of thing that can go wrong with these, other than the seats and windshield, are the wheels. This is frequently broken, so you do want to watch out for that. And the one critique I do have about Land Speeders is why is there just a hole there? And why is there just a hole there? Now that's beyond me, but it's kind of the one critique I have. Otherwise, it's a pretty great toy. So let's roll that one back there. And now let's get down the Cantina while we have 3 viewers watching. Because this time, Streamlabs actually decided that it wanted to cooperate. And everything in the Cantina just got absolutely wrecked. Except for that one stormtrooper. Oh, Jibber Jabber action figure is here. Alright. Well, we got him in the chat. So, we got the stormtrooper Hammerhead. He's got to serve drinks, but who is he going to serve drinks to? Well, let's put let's Snaggletooth was at the bar in the movie, and Snaggletooth is my only other Cantina alien that I do have, because I do have I want a Greedo, I really do, and I wanted a Hammerhead for the longest time. I finally found one I liked, so I pulled the trigger, and I've never regretted getting Hammerhead. Now, Walrus Man, he would be cool. Greedo just has a bigger cool factor than Walrus Man. Although Walrus Man does very well, he's just a 70s action figure, and the color scheme on Walrus Man with his kind of bright orange and blue, that's just a cool factor. But the Cantina, the best part about the Cantina, and just the best part about the playsets with the cardboard backdrops, for as much hate as people give them, oh, they could have done this better. The best part about them is that even if you have like 2 Cantina aliens, the Cantina is not entirely desolate because of that backdrop. It's only the foreground of the Cantina that is desolate, but it just looks like, oh well, the entrance. Of course, the entrance is going to be desolate, but the back there, all of the usuals are there, and it just looks. It's a great toy. Now, I always do display my Rees with my Cantina. I don't know why, I just always have. Although Rees, I did get him pretty recently, so that one is, well, of course, Rees falls down. He lost his balance. He tripped over a piece of loose cobblestone there on the Cantina floor. 3 viewers. It's pretty great. So, okay, there's Rees. He's balanced now. So the Cantina, he's looking pretty great. Stormtrooper. And that Stormtrooper is the most yellow Stormtrooper that I do have. And you're saying, well, that doesn't really look too yellow. And you'd be right about that, because 4 viewers. Alright, Jibber Jabber action figure has a comment. I had this playset when I was a kid. My mom got it at Genmo, that and my Big Head Han. Now, I have to say this, Big Head Han is the worst version of Han. He can never, the only way to do that Han Solo, you gotta go with the small head. You just have to. There's no way around it. The big head just looks terrible. Why Kenner changed it, I don't know. In fact, I will actually grab my small head Han Solo, because we're doing a roundup here. So we gotta see it all, although we don't have time for it all, but we'll try to see as much as we possibly can. And while I'm up here, Jibber Jabber action figures commenting again. I've got both. I never had this place. I really wish I had it, though. The Cantina is an absolutely great playset. If you don't have it in your collection, it's one of the top 5 playsets I would recommend getting. It's just that cool. I don't see how any collector can collect without it, because so much stuff happened at the Cantina. 2 of our heroes first met there. What else happened there? We had the first time a lightsaber was used on another character happened there. the Cantina band playing their song. That's a very iconic song. Han fried Greedo. All of the aliens just look very cool. So much happens there. It's the perfect. Kenner nailed it on this playset. And yeah, You've got both Hans. Well, that's good. As long as you have a small head Han. Later down the road, I will probably go out of my way to pick up a big head Han, even though, of course, it does not. The big head Han is why Kenner changed it. That's got. I think my parents though. It wasn't worth the money. I I gotta disagree with that one. The This playset is even it's not that big. There's a TIE fighter there in the background. It's pretty small, but for its size, it's got as much. They crammed this thing full of play value. Now, when Return of the Jedi came out, because we only had 4, technically 5 Cantina aliens. When Return of the Jedi came out with all of Jabba's denizens and goons, this playset became 100 times cooler. Now, I have the luxury of the internet, so I can just go out of my way and cherry pick the figures, get the characters I want whenever I want, and there will never be a time, there will never be a time when I when I can't get the regular genuine released stuff from the main Kenner line. Also, I've got the big and small head Han from the retro and the 1995 4-pack. The 1994 pack is great. I want one. I have seen one though in person, but I do want one. So there is your small head Han. Now, my small head Han, he has trouble gripping his blaster, so I always put a little putty right there on his hand. But yeah, Streamlabs was being weird there for the past couple of attempted streams, so I just did a YouTube stream through YouTube, but at least Streamlabs is working now. So that's good. And the next thing I would probably prioritize is a droid factory, because droid factories I really want one. And they're just cool. They're like the Kenner's version of Legos. They're like Star Wars Legos before Star Wars Legos were a thing, but they're not really Legos. So it's you just make up your own droids, and that's cool. And you can just kind of I don't exactly know how to explain it, but the droid factory is cool. The top 5 Star Wars playsets that I would get if I could only have 5: Cantina, the Cantina, the Death Star, I don't have the Cantina, but I've got the Droid Factory, although not complete. The Droid Factory is possibly the hardest playset to complete. Possibly. Actually, I'm going to say it is the hardest, because you've got all of those pieces. You've got the orange hoses. The axles are always missing. And it's okay if you don't have it complete. And that third leg R2 is the most prized possession out of that playset. So as long as you've got the R2 and a good number of the other parts, I would say you're pretty good off on that playset. That's going to be my next video, alright? I'll go check that out then. Once it releases. But yeah, I really want the Droid Factory. And so let's get back to our top 5 playsets. So we've got Cantina Death Star. This one's a little controversial. Ewok Village, I'm gonna put it on there. Because the Ewok Village, it's such a central location. So that's 3 of the slots. Imperial Attack Base. And I'm debating between Turret and Probot and actually no, we'll do Dagobah. Dagobah is just a cool playset all around. Which, let's shift gears here, because actually that is in my show notes. So let's do Dagobah right now. So I am going to move this back up to the top shelf, and I've got to pull out so we've got the R2 pulled out. Alright. So it'll take me just a moment here to shift over to Dagobah, because I'll check back in on comments. Alright, we're doing good. So we will move this back up, as of course the figures just fall right on over, as expected. And I've gotta figure out how to do this without tipping over the camera. Alright, I've got it. So here we go. And there's the foam. It's original. There you go. You can't use it, but I've got it. And you're saying, well, your old toys, why do we have the Dianoga trash monster there on Dagobah? Isn't that supposed to be on your Death Star? Well, it is. However, I do have 2 Dianogas, and that's because I originally bought my Death Star for a great deal. However, the condition was I would get this Death Star for a steal of a price. However, it was missing the glass on the trash compactor, the windows on the trash compactor, and the window. It was missing the windows on the trash compactor, the foam, and the rope swing. 3 pieces. Okay. So eventually I had the funds, I had the resources, and I just didn't nothing was really big on my list. I never had or really wanted the Droid Factory. Well, yeah, the Droid Factory, it definitely isn't the top of people's Star Wars list, so I can see where you're coming from there. But the Droid Factory is definitely, it's a cool playset, but it was kind of the biggest of Kenner's like mini rigs, if I should use that term. It's not really mini, but it's just a unique thing. And No other toy line has did that or has done that except for I think Lego with some of their creative sets where you just get a bag of pieces and you build whatever you want. Yeah, that is the only reason why that set will get credit is because of that third leg R2. Because here's the only R2D2 I have. He Kenner, why? It art Look, he comes with a dinky little periscope that you can go sense for, see like the Dianoga, or look for. But it would have been cool if R2D2 had a third leg. Although maybe not necessary, it would have just been cool. And yes, I realize all of the chrome is gone except for that one little patch there. This is my original R2D2 from my dad's collection. And the sticker is in alright condition. If you move the leg there, it's kind of rubbed away from that little bit there, but just all of the chrome is just. I prefer the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves version of the Ewok Village because it has the leaves and branches on the top of the tree trunks. Yes, that is very well true. However, the one thing that annoys me about that is the fact that they're that the huts are gray. So while it does remove some of the annoying pieces like the throne and the drum, the huts are gray at the end of the day and they're supposed to be tan. So it what I would personally do if I ever decided, well, I've got everything and now I'm going to want to upgrade things, is I would go out of my way and just get the tree canopies by themselves. I wouldn't even bother with the place. I would just get the tree canopies and I would use those and put them on the Star Wars version of the Ewok Village, and that is how you would create the ultimate version of that set. If you read me and see where I'm coming from, because I've got the Ewok Village and an incomplete version. So the battle wagon, the Kenner Star Wars battle wagon will always be the superior version of the battle wagon. The Ewok Village is a different conversation, but the battle wagon hands down goes to Kenner. If we're talking Star Wars, that is. And the Ewok Village, that's a completely different story. It depends on what on what you're going for, really, is what it does come down to. Are you going for a playset? Are you going for what Kenner originally gave us? Or are you going for what looks most film accurate? Now, what I just described, buying the tree canopies and putting those on the Kenner Star Wars Ewok Village, that would be the most screen accurate. However, if you are just going from what Kenner gave us, then it would just be the Kenner Star Wars Ewok Village. So it comes down to at the end of the day, it all comes down to what you're looking for and what you want. I picked up the Thieves Battle Wagon by mistake. That's alright. The Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, I haven't seen it. I probably should, but I know that it did steal a lot from Star Wars. The Ewok Village, the Battle Wagon. They even stole what do you call it? The Gamorrean, the Friar Tut action figure. That's just the Gamorrean guard with a different head. If you take his robe off, it's exactly the same as a Gamorrean guard. Now, I actually do have the a Gamorrean guard first shot, and it's very convenient to me right now. So I'll pull it out so you can see it here on the stream. And he's in a box with all of my prototype stuff. So I'll show you my prototypes because we are rounding it up. So we gotta take a look at everything. So there is my prototype Kenner Star Wars Gamorrean Guard. I have that in my Gamorrean Guard video. Yep. Because of the internet, people know about these things. However, pre-internet, you would have been called crazy for saying that. They would have said, oh, yeah, it looks the same, but I think it's just a coincidence, and they were just trying to give him some extra details. You could hold both of those up side by side to someone, and they would say, it's a coincidence. Of course, now, because of the internet, because people have grown up and they've interviewed Kenner employees, and Kenner employees have confirmed, yes, that it is supposed to be that they just recycled the mold. I think people have taken it as, okay, yeah, it's real. So, my other prototype here, because I have two prototypes in my collection. So we've got this beautiful first shot Gamorrean guard, and you're going to say, well, it's a first shot, not a prototype. You would be right about that. However, I do consider prototypes, or first shots prototypes, because they're like checking the mold. They're making sure that everything looks good. And the reason why I know it's a prototype is because it's, just look at the colors. It's an obscure dark green. It's not a Lily Letty, and it is a no COO, but it does have Lucasfilm 1983. Now, some first shots came with, so this is going to be one of the last first shots they did for the Gamorrean Guard, but because of the stamp on the back, you wouldn't consider getting your Gamorrean Guard graded. I don't do grading. However, if I felt the need to, if because it is a first shot, AFA would possibly AFA, CAS, whatever one I would choose to go to, I would maybe consider it. Possibly. But at the end of the day, these are collectibles, and grading it would be nice to have it in an acrylic, but it just comes down to it's a collection that's built off of luck and opportunity. And at the end of the day, someday, 50 years from now, when I'm old and I decide to pass this collection on to the next generation, whoever they might be, whoever likes Star Wars, if Star Wars is still popular then, Um, I want that generation to have the same experience that I've had building this collection, where you have to track down who has an amazing Star Wars collection like me, and then you know the every piece in my collection has a story behind it. What I did to get it, how I got it, it makes the collection just that much more special. And my other prototype, so we'll sideline Dagobah for a little bit since we're on this tangent right now, is, and I do not know if that staff or if that vibro axe goes to that Gamorrean guard, because the way that this Gamorrean guard, if it truly is a first shot, is it would have come out of Cincinnati. One of the Kenner employees would have, said, "Hey, my kid wants a Star Wars toy, so can I just have this?" And they would have said, "Sure." So the kid would have, the parent would have taken it home from Kenner, given it to their kid, and then their kid would have grown up, taken it to a flea market, sold it, and then Mad Max over at Heroes and Hobbies would have just happened to walk into that flea market, or maybe not even Mad Max, just somebody, and they would have transported it over to my state, and then eventually Mad Max over at Heroes and Hobbies would have got it, and he would have said, "Well, I'll see who wants it," and it would have been in his store, and then eventually I will come along, and I will say, "Yep, I think I want a Gamorrean guard," and now nobody in that line except for the Kenner maybe the Kenner employee didn't even know its significance. And then, I do researching, and then it's just sitting here, sitting here, sitting here. I can't find it. I can't find an exact match on Variant Villain. I can find closer matches on the Star Wars Collector's Archives, but yet I cannot find this exact match with these exact colors. You can even grab your Gamorrean guard, just hold it up, and hold it up to your screen, and take a look. You're not going to find, this arm's a little bit darker than all the other limbs, so that's number one. That's the number one thing you want to look for, is off-coloring, and severe off-coloring like that. Okay, thing number two is that the paint is roughly applied, okay? It's not, the paint job is good. So, but it's just not there. And by just not there, you'll know what I mean if you do have a first shot in your collection. The best way you can tell if you have a first shot is you gotta have multiples of that figure. And you'll know if you check Variant Villain, you check everything else, you'll just see, well, this figure, it just does not have the paint job is just not good enough. Alright? And let's take a look at the back of the figure. So, everything is pretty sharp on it. And what I mean by that is the mold it's just great. And by that, I mean, it is just absolutely, everything is just sharp. It looks fresh, and it's a little bit more, the detail just pops on it a little bit more than all of the other figures because it was the first one, or one of the first ones. So that's what makes this one just kind of seem like a first shot to me. So we will move Gamorrean, the first, what I like to believe is a first shot Gamorrean guard, and may very well possibly be. Now my other prototype comes out of the micro collection, and it is your Bespin Torture Chamber Chewbacca. Now the Bespin Torture Chamber was never released, and we got 237 subscribers. We got another subscriber. We did it. So this stream has gained us a subscriber. But the Trashed Picture Show just subscribed. But what makes this one a first shot, and there's no doubt in actually, is it a first shot? I think this is actually a paint test. And what I mean by that, they didn't test they didn't paint this figure how they would have painted it, because it's Chewbacca, it would have been brown. But what makes this one special is the one more sub, alright? So you'll see there's a little cutout on his back, and you're saying, well, your old toys. Well, it must have been chipped over time. Well, that was actually because the Bespin Torture Chamber, there would have been a little, kind of pile of C-3PO's limbs, and a little plastic clip, and it would have clipped onto Chewbacca's back, and then the C-3PO's limbs would have clipped into that bag, and so you can see the straps running over Chewbacca here, and they would have aligned perfectly with his kind of bag there. So that's how that would have worked. And it's a cool little action figure, really. There is nothing, of course, these are hard to find. Now, I've seen 2 go for sale. Now, one of the 2 I've seen go for sale is the one that I have right here. The other one is that I saw go for sale. It was not painted white. It was painted, it was just the die-cast silver metal color. So, these are hard, the Chewbacca is hard to come by. I really do want that pile of C-3PO's limbs. Now, if my memory does serve me correctly, there should be one of every figure painted white. So, one day I would love to have the complete set of white painted figures. However, the unfortunate truth is some of them may be sitting in a landfill because Kenner threw them out, or they're just spread out across collections, across America, across the world, just waiting to show up at a Comic-Con or just show up on the open market. Now, of course, Gus Lopez is going to watch this video someday and say, oh, how did he get that one? I'll send your old toys a comment on this live stream, and I'll beg him for that, because I've got every other of these figures painted white along with the playset prototype, and I just gotta have that one to complete my set. This set, the white set. So of course Gus Lopez will watch that one. We'll watch this one day, and he'll see it, and he'll beg me for this piece along with that Gamorrean guard back there. Now, finally, that we're done with the prototype tangent, because those are the only prototypes I have. So let's get these put back in their box so we can finally move on to Dagobah. Because this has been a wild tangent. 5 viewers. Isn't it gray paint? Looks like the premiere. So, it very well could be gray paint. 5 viewers. How about that? 5 viewers. It's great. So, technically it is a gray. Because so the easiest way we can do this is we'll grab kind of white to gray action figures, and we'll see which one it does closely match. So, we'll start out with our Death Squad commander. So, he is much further of a darker gray than our Chewie. Okay, so it's not him. It's not quite that gray. So now we'll go a little lighter with the Ugnaught. We're getting closer, but we're just still not there. So we'll try Stormtrooper because I said it was white. Well, the Stormtrooper is clearly far whiter. He's more of a kind of a chalk color, if you know what I mean. So we'll try our ATST driver. I believe so. See what I mean? ATST driver. It's a white gray, but it's just kind of still a little bit of a. It's more of a chalky color because there's silver, so silver, and you see what I mean? It's more of a white than a gray. 238, two new subscribers. So, all right, 238. We just gotta keep it going all night, and we'll be at 500 subs in no time. So, the best way that I can find the true color is I'm gonna step away for a second, and I'm gonna grab my high-powered flashlight, and that will bring out the true color of this figure. So I will be right back. So, we'll shine this. He is coming out as a prime white color. You can't see this too well. Maybe if we hold the light a little further back, you'll see it, but he is for sure white. Oh yeah. He is definitely a white. And the reason why he would look gray is because I'll show you. So the lights that I have are more of a yellow. So this is my recording studio, and so it's just really is, it'll come out a lot more as a gray in this room at least. So our past subscribers are the Stark Knight Returns, Mr. Adventure 1975, Pac-Man Fan 256, Daz the Comic Key Chaser, Adam Jibber Jabber Action Figure, that was 1 month ago, the 26th Parchment, Anthony Lim, Space Case Collectors, and the Trashed Picture Show. At least that is what my show notes are showing. So, let's see. Okay. So those are the past subscribers. We're going on an hour. Why don't we make this 2 hours? We'll go for 2 hours. So, we're just talking Star Wars. I'm just having a blast doing this. So, let's switch gears to Dagobah. Now that we have settled that, because that Chewie is truly white. Because my high-powered, he came out as a white underneath my high-powered flashlight. And the lights in this room for sure do deceive you, because they're not true white lights, and the only way to see true color is to look at something under a white light. So we got that out of the way. Now we'll move Dagobah back front center stage. 3 people watching. How about that? So, how about this? I'll put Yoda on Luke's back, or we'll go over the figures first. How about that? So, let's move everything out of the way so that we can just get a nice close look at this playset. So, we've got your swamp area where R2-D2 can kind of go down there. Now, this replacement swamp that I personally made, it's a yellow sponge with brown paint over it. So, it's not the greatest thing. You can't shove your figure in there like you would on a regular, like on the vintage swamp, for example. However, it does the job, and I'm not cramming R2s in there all day. So, there you go. And take a look at the bottom of the playset. Yeah, there's your yellow swamp. And that is kind of my color test down there for which brown I wanted to use. And we're down to 1 viewer, so we'll get viewers back. So we'll grab our Yoda. Okay, two viewers now. Don't know why that was so hard to say. 2 viewers. I'm setting up Yoda right now, throwing his snake and his cane putting his cane in his hand. So there's Yoda. Now, this is Yoda's house. So come on in. Now you're thinking, well, that's the entrance. You'd be wrong about that. The actual entrance is this one right here. So it's just big enough for Yoda to go through. And Yoda invites us inside. So Yoda, he's got all of his food prepared in his little bowl, and he's got his spoon on the table. And, he's got his little meditation cave back there. They should have put a foot peg in here for Yoda. They really should have. And now, the snake, you're saying, well, your old toys. What's the snake for? Now, what I like to use my snake for is just giving Dagobah just a little bit more of character. Just you throwing it somewhere random in the playset. For example, putting it on the tree branch back there. It looks pretty good there. And and Yoda, well, he's got a belt full of Dagobah supplies, so he's good. Now, the one question I do have is, did Kenner take inspiration from Pac-Man the video game? Because if you take a look at Yoda's eyes, and this is the far much more rare version of Yoda, if my camera wants to focus, his eyes look just like Pac-Man. So there you go. Now you can really see his eyes. But they do look like Pac-Man. Coincidence? Probably. Or maybe Kenner did take inspiration. 2 viewers. Alright, so I will set up Luke. So we've seen Yoda. So I'll throw Yoda's accessories on him. And, well, we'll leave his accessories off to the side right there. Because our next figure in our Dagobah segment of the show is our Luke Skywalker. And it'll take me a moment to set it up. But there is your, well, he just fell over. So there's Luke. Now this is a gorgeous version of Luke. He's got beautiful hair. There's the slightest rub up top. Beautiful version of Luke. Just the black version of his blaster. Almost perfect. The lightsaber has the slightest warp. Beautiful paint on the boots and beautiful paint on the belt. He's just in immaculate condition. You're gonna find this is the best Luke. He's got a little, I wouldn't say quite immaculate, but he's in mint condition. He's your Hong Kong version. And he's got some paint rub back there on his belt. Some paint rub on the lightsaber and on the forward part of the belt. So, let's just kind of jump right into Dagobah. Let's do it. So at Dagobah, the hardest pieces to find are the back of the back tree branch here. And these pieces here, including the blue backpack, only came with the playsets that included the special offer for this. Otherwise, you would have just got this through your action figure survival kit. It's a cool backpack, though. I definitely do like it. It's a night. Every playset should have just came with it, though. Every playset truly should have. They should have. The one critique I have with Kenner Star Wars, they should have included the gas masks with the Millennium Falcon. Why they didn't do that it's just beyond me. The gas masks were literally exclusively seen with the Millennium Falcon. only the core here, well, not only the Chewie, Leia, Han were the only ones to ever use those gas masks. Well, in the original trilogy, of course, why they weren't included with the Millennium Falcon is just it's a great, I don't know why. It's just beyond me. So, let's move over and I'll show you these two crates. So, if you're picking up a Dagobah, you don't want two of the same crate. The crates look different. One has is thinner and has nothing on the top. The other has two kind of straps and a little box with a little raised bar on the top. And you're saying, well, your old toys, that's very cool. Kenner included those. But what exactly are they supposed to do? And I will show you, because this is the only playset that you can actually simulate using the Force on. And it is a very, very, very cool play feature. And I just gotta plug my camera back in, because I do not want to run out of battery here on the show. Or 70%, but just want to charge it a little bit so we can run the show 2 hours, of course. Now, while I'm kind of standing up here, I'm going to grab my Darth Vader, so one more second, I just got to grab this Vader. Because if you know your Star Wars toys, and you know your Star Wars movies, you know that Darth Vader, while he never stepped foot on Dagobah, he did kind of, in a way, play a role. So let's do that first. And so I'll set it up right now. Alright. Or I guess it is the other way around, really. Either way works. So we'll slide out Vader's lightsaber. Yes, I did not get a Darth Vader with a tip on the lightsaber. And Luke Skywalker just threw his lightsaber. I don't know why he did that. But I pulled him off the peg, and that lightsaber went flying over Yoda's house and back on top of the World Toys logo. 3 viewers watching. We gain another sub. Nope. But so, this is one of the best play features on a vintage Kenner Star Wars toy. And I'm not even going to contest that statement. If you can, then do it. I challenge you. Because what you do is you grab these levers and they just clash blades, you know. Now, I don't know what happened. There we go. So, you can make them dual their lightsabers. It's just so cool. It really is. Because, and then of course, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, lowers his defenses. Well, he doesn't actually do that in the movie. But Luke sees the opportunity, and he takes Darth Vader. And then, of course, Luke thinks he just defeated Darth Vader. And then Darth Vader's head goes boom, and Luke sees himself under that helmet. Alright. So there you go. There's that scenario you can play on Dagobah. So we'll put Vader back. And then, well, Luke is like, alright, I mastered my yellow lightsaber. But lightsaber is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. And I want to become a Jedi Knight Master Yoda. So, Luke Skywalker gets his cool blue backpack on. And I'll do this one off camera. So, let's check our stats. And what do we have going? So, as I'm just setting up Luke, I'm checking to see if anything big has happened yet. Or if I can. What I should do. So, alright. So nothing big. 1 hour and 11 minutes in. So, Luke's backpack just does not want to cooperate. And I do not want to break these blue tabs. Okay, there we go. We got our first side in. Our first side is going. So that's tightened down. Now we gotta tighten the second side, of course. So, there we go. Now that's all tightened down. So, you're saying, well, your old toys. Luke's got a big fancy backpack. He looks like he's gonna go hike up Yoda's mountain. That's not what that backpack's for, because you gotta always add extra weight to it. So what you can do is, and it's a little finicky, so I'm gonna do this one off camera as well. We got a good 2 viewers watching us, so that's always good. Come on, Yoda, just get on in there. Get on in the bag. There we go. So now Yoda's in there. And this just looks funny, but, you know, Yoda's on Luke's back. So Luke, you know, he can run around Dagobah with Yoda. And they're just having a good time, you know, doing flips, and even, you know, Luke will strap into this thing right here. And so you can kind of lift Luke up and spin him around. They're doing all sorts of flips. Let's take Yoda off of Luke. Just get this whole backpack off so I can do the final scenario. So that was scenario number 2. And of course, yes, you do have scenario number 3, where you can sync R2. Scenario number 4, Yoda's house or hut or whatever it is. 3 viewers. Thank you, thank you. We like our viewers. We like our viewers here. Yep. A final scenario. And the scenario all of you have been waiting for, the selling point of this toy, is it's got to be this one right here. And I just gotta put the tree branch back through. Connect those two again. Okay. So, underneath these crates, there's these little tubes. Now, you just gotta line them up. So, what you can do is Luke's gotta concentrate pretty hard. And it would help him a lot if you liked the stream, subscribed to the channel, and chatted in the chat. It would help him raise these crates up a little stronger. A little stronger, a little more, Luke. Luke's gotta reach out with the force. Just like that. And he's raising them. He sees Jibber Jabber action figures, subscription to the channel, and all of his comments and all of his likes. And he is lifting them because of Jibber Jabber action figure. But then he sees that there's 3 people watching. Only 3. And so that dwindles it a little bit. Then he sees 238 subscribers, and it comes on very strong. Okay, so then he decides to put those crates back down. And he decides, well, I can why lift this small little crate when I could lift R2-D2? So he'll take R2-D2. He'll put R2. R2 will just be kind of right there. And R2-D2 will lift up over the swamps of Dagobah. And R2-D2 will just be floating there. And Luke is really reaching out with the force to ensure that R2 can stay afloat as long as R2 possibly can. But then all good things must come to rest, so, well, Luke will let R2 down. But there you go, there's your Dagobah review. And, of course, you can see most of the stuff that we've covered on this stream reviewed on my channel. So, that, I think, sums up Dagobah. Now, we're not getting... I think we've got 3 viewers, so what do you guys want to see? Just ask about anything in my collection. We've got a whole lot of stuff here that we can take a look at. Whatever you guys want. So, I'm thinking the next thing that we should probably do, and I say probably because we don't have to do it, and there's one last look at Dagobah's original film. So there's that. So while I'm putting away Dagobah to make room for our next feature, because I gotta put up Dagobah, and then we can move on to our next feature. So I could set up my backdrop because it's convenient, or, well, I gotta remove Luke's accessories and put Yoda's accessories there. Oh, we gotta Move this back to the Dagobah shelf. Okay. Well, we lost a viewer, as I expected. But we're still here. Do you have any retro? Okay, Jibber Jabber action figure is still here. Action figures, no. Do you have any retro? Well, what do you mean by retro? Do you mean Kenner retro? Or do you mean like Hasbro retro? Like the retro collection? Because that's the key thing right there. Give me a little more on retro. Hasbro, okay. That's what we're going to do next. Hasbro. So, should we do prequels, Mandalorian, or Kenobi? That's the other question. What do you want to see first? Out of prequels, Kenobi, or Mandalorian? Because I've got those 3 lines for retro, except one figure for Mandalorian. And I think you can probably figure out what figure that is. I've got only original trilogy, just a few. So I did have original trilogy for retro collection. And then I said, well, this is just exactly what I'm already collecting, and it's just a newer version of it, and it's taking up space here in a collection room, and I would rather have the original than I would rather have an original than a retro collection, a remake. So I sold the modern stuff I did have. It wasn't much. But let's jump into retro stuff. So, let's start out with Kenobi. Everybody's most favorite action figure, Ned B. And you can't even see him there because of the chat box. And let's do Inquisitors. We got Grand Inquisitor. I leave mine carded, so no weapons. So no weapons, don't mix. And okay, well, yeah, that's a good way to do it. But I keep very well track, and if I have original stuff out, I know how to tell between a retro and a modern. So once we get a good opportunity, we'll do that, and I'll show you here on the show. We got Ned B, Grand Inquisitor, the 5th brother. We got Riva, because everybody just needs a Riva action figure. I mean, who could live without a Riva action figure? I mean, we all just absolutely love Riva in the show. She's the coolest character by far. I mean, why they didn't name the show Riva is just beyond me. We all love Riva. And who cares about Obi-Wan? Obi-Wan is so terrible. You know, Obi-Wan, he can't even stand up. I mean, come on. But there you go. So, you got Ned B, Grand Inquisitor, 5th brother, everybody's favorite Riva, Obi-Wan. He's a nice version of Obi-Wan. And as much as these figures, as much as the back 4 are okay character choices and so looking for retro style. Obi-Wan, he looks decent. However, where Hasbro really came out strong is this Darth Vader. This Darth Vader is it's one of Hasbro's better retro collection figures. I love this version of Darth Vader. I just do. Because this Darth Vader is the second version of Darth Vader that Kenner never gave us. And I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna state it, and you can contest me on that as much as you want. I'll grab my Kenner Darth Vader. We got an upgrade of every figure except for Chewbacca and Darth Vader. Of the core characters, at least. Yes, you could say, well, technically World Toys is Stormtrooper. Well, the Stormtrooper always looked the same. Chewbacca always had a variation in his hair, or in his fur, because the original Star Wars Chewbacca is the one Kenner based theirs off of. Now, the Chewbacca had a little different hairstyle in Empire Strikes Back, but it was similar enough. Okay, so that makes sense. However, in Return of the Jedi, Chewbacca, he just had a different hairstyle. So I wouldn't have minded if Chewbacca got an update, but Jedi Chewbacca and Star Wars Chewbacca were definitely two different things. Now, we've got our Vader and this Vader. So you can see that the height is Kenobi Vader is just a little bit shorter. And Kenobi Vader's got the red eyes. Kenobi Vader's got a cloth cape. And Kenobi Vader's got the removable lightsaber. And by that I mean you can easily. It's meant to come out of the hand. It's not the telescoping lightsaber. So, a very solid version of Vader. And it's a nice upgrade to have. It's a nice Vader to have in your collection just in general. Alright, so we have Kenobi done. So there's Kenobi. So now let's move on to Phantom Menace. Okay, so we'll move these guys out of the way and move in our Phantom Menace action figures. Because everybody just loves the Phantom Menace. It's so cool with the Jar Jar and those battle droids. So, let's start off with everybody's absolute most favorite character in all of the prequels. Thank God, not the sequels, but the prequels, everybody's most favorite. And if you're thinking what I'm thinking, well, you would be right. Everybody's absolute most favorite sequels character, and that is none other than Jar Jar Binks. So, Jar Jar, this is not what Kenner would have done. His ears are made out of rubber, so the ears are almost articulated. His big floppy ears. His neck moves, so, And then he comes with this blaster. And so it's a Jar Jar. So there you go. There's your Jar Jar. You have Queen Amidala now. See again as the rubber hairpiece. This kind of rubber thing that kind of moves around. And then their legs are big and beefy and bulky. And she did not come with an accessory, which, oh, that just eliminates kind of a cool factor that would have been with her. So, I'm gonna put Darth Maul's lightsaber in his hand right now, and we'll put Darth Maul up there next. Alright, so we got Darth Maul. And it's a beautiful version of Darth Maul. And well, who is Darth Maul gonna have by his side, and who is Jar Jar gonna shoot his blaster at? So we got a battle droid. Following he is a flimsy figure. These figures, Hasbro definitely took a money shortcut and used. These figures are of the quality you would expect to find at a gas station. They're made of like a PVC rubber almost, if you can use that word. I guess they're more of a rubber than even PVC. And then you've got young Obi-Wan Kenobi with his little Padawan braid. I'm surprised that was not a little rubber band that just came off of his head. Darth Maul is a sturdy figure. Darth Maul is a solid figure. I'm not going to deny that one. The Darth Maul in this set is great, and the Qui-Gon in this set is great. So we have two great figures, one mediocre figure, and two just cheap figures. So there you go. There is your Phantom Menace set of action figures. Now, because Hasbro, of course, being Hasbro, they had to make a very smart financial decision. So, what did they do? They shorted us out, and instead of giving us an Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith box, they just threw Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones into one figure set. So, who do we have? So we've got 2 viewers, no new subscribers, but we're doing good. We've gained 2 for this show. I think that's a good number. And our camera is charging, so that's good. So, these figures are a huge upgrade from what the Phantom Menace gave us. They're just built a lot better. And there's no poor character choices. So we've got Mace Windu. We've got... He's a solid. He looks great next to your Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. You've got Anakin Skywalker. That's a great figure right there. You've got Anakin's girlfriend, Padme. So we'll put... Well, of course, she just knocks everybody over. So we'll put her right there. And if you lost all of your lightsaber accessories, you just lost them all, you didn't know what happened to them, you could never find them, and you think somebody might have stolen all of them. Well, you would be right, somebody did steal all of them, and that is General Grievous. This is a great action figure right here. General Grievous, he stole all your lightsabers, and that's because he needs 4 lightsabers. 2 green, 2 blue. General Grievous, a great addition to the retro collection. And I think that, yes, the arms don't rotate forward and backward. They go up and down. So that is great. And they go out to the side. So General Grievous will just be mowing down your Jedi just like this. And, well, who can Anakin control? Well, Anakin's got his own legion of clone troopers. We'll put Grievous back there since he is a monster of a figure. You got an army builder, clone trooper, and the coolest out of this line. However cool you thought General Grievous was, Jango Fett is so much cooler. He's got his double blasters. And I don't know why these two just fell over. I have Queen Ahmed or Padme up here. He comes with a little dinky ray gun, you know. It would have been, did she use that in the movie? No, I'm beginning to question it. Did she actually have that in the movie? It's been a while since I've seen Attack of the Clones. I think she actually might have used that one in the movie. Now that I think long and hard about it. But there's Jango Fett nonetheless. He is a great looking figure. Just a great figure. There's no getting around that. We are an hour and a half and going strong. So, I think let's do Mandalorian. Let's keep charging into the night. Let's do that. So, I'll get these out of here. And I'll just throw them back there. Not literally, but, just... Ooh. Gonna knock my camera over. So I literally do have a ton of Mandalorian action figures. And this is where I will do my weapons comparison. Only one watching. So, let's just kind of grab them and move them. Some handfuls. And I'll try to remember which figure came in which wave off of the top of my head. I may mix some up, although I do have a fairly decent idea. So, ooh. Can I reach my card backs to make sure? So, let's start off with the obvious ones that came in which wave. And it's 6 to a wave. However, for wave 1, I only have 5. Now, that's because the Remnant Trooper is the action figure that I just don't have. And you want to know why? It's because he came in a $50 Monopoly set. As much as I would love to have Mandalorian Monopoly, it's just Hasbro's way of saying, hey, here's a cool action figure. Here's a army builder. Yeah, you're going to have to, if you want 10 Remnant Troopers, oh, you got to buy 50 Monopolies. That's pretty convenient of Hasbro. So, let's start off first with none other than the Mandalorian, but this version of the Mandalorian has a vinyl cape And he has the colorful armor, the colored armor. So he is your colored armor Mandalorian. And I unplugged my camera again. So next we've got Cara Dune. Thank God Mando didn't fall over. So we got Mando, Cara Dune. I'll plug my camera back in. Down to one viewer. How about that? One lone viewer out there. Alright, we are charging again. And we've got another obvious. We've got Quill. So I'll put his gun in his hand. So we've got Quill. And so that's 3. And there were only 5. So I believe the other 2. I'm going to grab a card back because I do want this to be an accurate video. Accurate stream. So I may possibly knock this over, so I'm going to take my headset off so I don't. Okay, so I'm looking here. So wave 2. Okay. So now I know which went to which wave. So IG-11, or we'll put, maybe wave 1 was actually 7 figures. It very well could have been. So Moff Gideon. And we've got Grief Karga with his working holster. So there's his blaster. I didn't lose it. Thank God, because he's got a holster. And just to make sure, just to check my logic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 8. Exactly, I missed a figure. 1 viewer. So we are still trekking. Look at this absolute rad photo of Cara Dune. Of course, oh no, Disney tried to cancel Cara Dune because, well, she was a cool character. So, we've got Grief Karga. And where did... Okay, so there you go. IG there is your blaster. And there is your rifle. And then, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I only have 7. And that 7th figure is gonna be, of course, Baby Yoda, but Baby Yoda, the child, Grogu, whatever you call him. He comes with this little frog. I know, Baby Yoda. He's that's what I have always called him, because that's what I originally called him, and then Grogu, and then the child. The child is what I'm on the fence between between Baby Yoda or the child, but Grogu also works. I call him by all three. I don't really have a preference. Whatever comes out, comes out. So he's gotta hide from those evil remnant stormtroopers and his little carriage. It's a nice little accessory there to have with him. So there is your wave 1 of Mandalorian. So I will put them back. So before we move on to wave 2, I will show you how to determine if your blaster is original or not. So, number one way is, so take a look. I'll get these in my hand so you can see them. Take a look at these blasters. Okay. So, see them? They look pretty much the same. Now, let's take a closer look. This one has etches on the handle. If you focus up camera. My camera wants to focus. See that? This one doesn't have those. The other ways, you can drop them. So here is your reproduction. And here's your modern. This is your reproduction. And here is your vintage. So, okay, so they sound the same. The other way you can distinguish them is that here is your vintage. See, it doesn't have a whole lot of flex to it. And your modern, it flexes, and it just does not feel the same. Like, you put some pressure down on that. Doesn't have a whole lot of give. This one, it's just giving all day. So that's how you tell. You can also kind of tell a little bit by looks. What are we at? 1 hour and 48 minutes. So, before we move on to Mandalorian round wave 2, I am going to I gotta take a break. So, we will be right back after the break. And coming up next is your Mandalorian Wave 2. So there's a sneak peek at those. And just more Star Wars madness, talking Star Wars. So we'll be back after the break. So this is Your Old Toys, and we will be right back after these messages. Alright, we're back. So, now what I would like to do, as promised before the break, is go over Wave 2 for Mandalorian. So, let's start out with everybody's most favorite Mandalorian, Bo-Katan Kryze. So there's Bo-Katan. And yes, I know, I'll adjust the camera. So we are going to put the armorer up there. Beautiful looking armor. She looks great. The details look great. Ahsoka Tano. 2 viewers. Alright, we're doing good. We're doing good. We have a beautiful looking Boba Fett from Morak. Now, this version of Boba Fett, it's pretty good. Pretty spot on, if you will. So, now I'm just gearing up the Mandalorian. Do a mic check. Yep, mic is on. It should be at least. If it's not, please do let me know. So, there is your Mandalorian Beskar armor. And, of course, the Dark Troopers. Now, I've always loved the Dark Trooper action figure. With their, especially the retro collection version. They've just got those green eyes. It's an intriguing figure. Alright, we're pretty close to 2 hours. And, man, I could push another hour. I'm feeling like it. Saturday night, April 25th. Should we push through to Sunday? As long as you guys are here watching, well, we'll keep it going. Just want to check my show notes. History settings. I am just checking. So, alright. Looking good, hopefully there. So there are your Mandalorian action figures. And well, I think, unless there's another thing you guys want to take a look at, another vintage Kenner Star Wars item. But I do have to save some for reviews, so we'll put away these. We do have to do some reviews on this channel. Otherwise, what should we do next? It's almost been 2 hours. We've got 2 people watching. So, let's go over what the schedule looks like coming up. Let's start off with that. and see where that takes us. So, for April's almost over, isn't it? For I May 4th, I'm going to try. And this time you guys better watch it. Star Wars Rivals of the Empire. I'm going to give it a second go because 200 we gained two new subscribers tonight. Okay. 2 new subscribers tonight. So that's absolutely great. It just tells me I better stream more, doesn't it? So 2 new subscribers tonight. And then we've just been gaining subs left and right this year. This is 2026. It's definitely is my best year. So with the 2 new subs tonight, if you're still on, if you're still watching, and I know Jibber Jabber Action Figure is gonna watch it. Rivals of the Empire. It's gonna be a unique thing to this channel, and you're gonna see what I mean by it. I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but that's why I should probably start thinking about wrapping up the stream. May 4th ain't that far away. It's only 2 weeks, and I'm gone next weekend, so I can't film it then. So this weekend is the best time for me to film, really. It is. So I better film for Star Wars Rivals of the Empire. Otherwise, it just might not happen. But it's going to happen. Don't worry about it. So, or I could do an alternate episode where there's no space scenes. Because if you did watch the original, and the original, it's unique. The audio is terrible on it, though. So, it was pre-Your Old Toys headset days. I cranked, I think I just got a headset. I just purchased my headset for that. So I take it back. I purchased my headset fairly early on into my channel. I may have possibly had a headset. But I don't know about that. So we'll say I had a headset. I cranked the music up a little too loud. You could barely hear me in some of the scenes. The cinematography is on point. It's good. But it just doesn't flow. It just does not flow right. 2 hours. How about that? So it was good. It could have been better. So for this round of Rivals of the Empire, the reboot, because that's really what it is. It's just a reboot, and I want a monthly. Star Wars Rivals of the Empire. It can't be a weekly show. There's just no way. There's no possible way for me to do that. If at best we're gonna get it once every 2 weeks. However, though, when I film Rivals, that's a long day. So you have to remember that when I'm filming a Rivals episode, I gotta get all of these toys out. I gotta get the camera just up and working. I gotta film it. Then I gotta just kind of get everything in good order. And then, and only then, I have to film it, do the voices as I'm filming it, and then I've got to put all the stuff away. I've got to overlay it with music, and then I've got to edit it, and then I have to post it. So it's a long day. A Rivals episode will take me a good 12 hours to film for 10, 15 minutes of film. And not all of that, an hour of that is probably filming. Well, maybe not 12, more like 5 hours, I would say. About 5 hours. 12 was a little steep. So, at best I could film 2 Rivals episodes a day. And then I've got school. I've got extracurricular activities. And on top of those, YouTube. So, I probably can commit 10 hours to YouTube a week at best. Of course, when summer comes, mid-June, July, August, I will be cranking out content. But I plan to do another live stream later this week. I think our crowd has moved on. Our crowd has gone to bed. We're sitting here with one viewer. It's about that time of night. And I got a couple more. I got some video. Thank you for the Falcon video views. I can't thank you enough for those. The Falcon video is doing great. So thank you for the Falcon videos success. You're doing what you're supposed to. You're watching the videos. So if you haven't already, please do remember to like the video or to like the live stream and subscribe to the channel. I think we did it all. We said it all. And I gotta hop off, go film some Rivals of the Empire, and then get to bed. It's almost 11. It's about, we'll run it to 11 o'clock. So, we got a couple more minutes. 11 o'clock is when we're gonna really start wrapping it up here. So, why don't we take a look at our last 17 figures. So I'll pull those out of the case, special for a live stream event. Although, because we're gonna get a swarm of views in after the show tomorrow, a swarm of people watching this to catch up. So we've got Anakin Skywalker. Everybody's got Anakin Skywalker from the last 17. And then we've got our shiny Luke Skywalker Rebel Leader coin. And on the back, Star Wars trademark 1984 LFL Jedi Knight and member of Endor Assault Group on a speeder bike. He fearlessly pursued Imperial biker scouts. May the Force be with you, trademark. So that's his coin, and, well, who could it be? It's Luke Skywalker Endor. And Jibber Jabber action figure, if you are still watching this, this is the figure I would grade. If I could only grade one figure from my collection, this would... I'm being a little optimistic here, but it may very well truly grade at an 85 plus. It may very well do that. There's very little fraying to the cape. And by that I mean I cannot spot a anywhere where it's fraying. No rub to the helmet. Okay, he's got his accessory. No, not a chip on the hand. So, this is a flawless action figure. there's not a single thing wrong with him. It's a beautiful Luke Skywalker. So we've got 5 minutes left in the show. So I'll put those figures back, and with those last 5 minutes, we're just kind of gonna do our last little roundup of things, and that'll be our show. So, if you're watching this after, there will probably be another show this week, a little earlier in the night, perhaps. Maybe, So, you're gonna see a show maybe Monday, I would say. Monday or Wednesday are your 2 days for the show. So if there's no show Monday and no show Wednesday, then there's going to be no show this week. I would like to do another show this week, though. I truly would. So, the last thing that we're going to get around to. We've already got cobwebs on it. I just put that up there. Did we get another comment? No. From up there, it did look like it. Chewbacca bandolier strap. There it is. And no, this box is not sealed. I wish it was, though. Klaatu's skirt is just getting wrecked. And I will carefully slide this strap out. I gotta be careful doing this. Okay. I got it out. Okay. This is nerve-wracking right here. Because so this is screwed up already. So bear with me here. We're gonna get this going good. So that should fold like that. Fold over like that. So that's how it's gonna be put on. Now, look at the immaculate condition that this foam is in. Okay. Admire it. So this foam has withstood the test of time, and just having it out here. So this foam, I'm gonna do my best because it really truly has withstood time. You know, you saw the Dagobah foam earlier in the video. That foam is absolute garbage. And here, I'll grab my second best example because it's convenient. So take a look at the two. This is immaculate. And this is, it's, kind of falling apart there. But that just shows you And it proves to you that it can hold up to time. Time is reclaiming some parts of Kenner Star Wars, but it has not reclaimed it all yet. So with enough care, with enough love, and with enough passion, you can preserve Kenner Star Wars. And with that, we are at 11 o'clock. So, from the Your Old Toys studio, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the subscribers tonight. And thank you all for tuning into this show. And with that, the Saturday, April 25th, 2026 live stream is over. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for I always struggle on this part of my videos. If you haven't already, please do remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and we will talk again soon. And with that, the stream is over. Thank you all. And, well, that's really it. So, thank you all for watching. Tune in to, I'm going to put the stream on Wednesday. Tune in to Monday or Wednesday's stream, whatever date I decide to go with. Check in both days. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. It's been a great honor. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all on the next stream or in the next video.